Good evening, beautiful people. It's yours truly, Tammy B. And I want to welcome and thank each and every one of you for joining another session of Real Talk with Tammy B and Company, the show where we are recording live so that you can actively engage in our conversation via the YouTube chat. And as always, I am extremely grateful for you amazing people being with us this evening. And I am super excited about tonight's show. And before we do get started, I do want to ask if you are not part of our community to please join us by subscribing as we are here weekly at 7:30 p.m. Eastern with new content. And so I see our man Shelly Sims has popped into the platform. Hey, Shelly.
Hello, hello, hello.
Hey, and I see our girl Cola E the Great has popped in as well. Hey, Cola.
How are you?
Amazing. How are you?
I am good. Sorry, I'm late. I was searching for the link. It wasn't highlighting for some
Technical
reason.
difficulties tonight. Technical difficulties tonight. And then I'm excited because this is our very first Real Talk, Real Men, where we are creating a space to have conversations real with real men to give real honest feedback. Look, whether we want to hear it or not, but this is how we break down the barrier and start forming that cohesive bond. Because for far too long, everyone has been at odds against each other. So, welcome to my guest, Mr. Big on God himself, Mr. King. Hey, King. King, can you hear
Hey,
me?
Queen. How you
Hey.
doing?
Hey, and then
Hey.
we have returning guest, Mr. Troy Roberts, who is our male birth worker here with us a couple weeks ago that just dropped some gems on us. So welcome back, Troy.
Thank you, thank you. Appreciate you. Appreciate your audience.
Thank you. Thank you for being here. And so, listen, y'all know we are at the start of another zodiac season. So, to all the Geminis, we salute you and say happy birthday to the Geminis out there. It's y'all season, so I already know how y'all roll. So, y'all going to be turning all the way up. So, welcome to all of them. And if you're a Gemini, you see this, give us a shout out so we can shout you out for your birth month. And so, listen, let me give you guys a little backdrop about what I'm doing here with this platform. Because, again, as I stated, this is our very first men's only discussion. And we're going to be doing this the third Wednesday of the month. I'm extending the offer to multiple men because I want that safe space. That space where they can come to the stage, have genuine, heartfelt conversations. Again, whether we agree or not, I just want people to be able to express themselves. And to which, if you desire to be a part of any of this conversation, feel free to DM me at thassawoman, THASSA woman, for consideration on being on the platform. And yes, it is men's discussion tonight, but my girl Cola E is here as backup, and she will be listening in on the conversation as well. So, I do want to say many times women say they want the real man back in their lives and their homes, yet some don't truly listen, don't shoot the messenger, to what they have to say. In fact, a lot of times I've noticed people listen to just respond, which does not help any conversation. So, ladies, let's just keep an open mind. And in order to change the narrative and about how men are seen, we must first hear them and understand them. So, with that being said, as we begin this, I'm going to first allow the gentlemen to introduce themselves. And I'm going to start with the man of Real Talk with Tammy B and Company himself, Mr. Shelley. Shelley, tell people something they may not know about you, and along with a hobby. Give us one of your favorite hobbies, Shelley. Shelley, if you talk, you muted, Shelley.
I'm just talking,
You
but
are.
let's see, my hobby, I don't know. I like everything. My hobby is animals. I love horses. So let me start there. Love
Okay.
anything horses, wildlife, blah blah blah. That's one of my main things, hobby wise. Um, what don't they know about me? I'm just an ordinary average guy, just a hard worker, man. Single parent. There it goes. Not too many people know that. I've been a single parent 24 years. So, and single in real life, single. I mean, I ain't seen a mama in 24 years single.
Well, I
I
applaud
love
you.
it. I wouldn't have it no other way.
Exactly. Well, I applaud you for the role that you have taken. So look, y'all see I got my camo on in honor of Memorial Day. So yeah, I salute you on that, Mr. Shelley.
Appreciate
And
it.
so, Mr. King. So let me, before he introduces himself, I was at, and we lost Mr. King, so maybe he'll be back. So Troy, tell the audience something they do not know about you, along with your favorite hobby.
I mean, most of my stuff is pretty out there. I mean, obviously, folks know. I'll give you something most people don't know. They don't know I'm a lactation educator. Most folks don't know that. I don't go out and publicize it, but I've been doing that now for a while. I'd say my hobby. My hobby is, I say hiking. That's one of the things I enjoy most, hiking and, of course, camping. I talked a little bit about that when we met before, but those are definitely my favorite hobbies is to get outside and get grounded.
Wow. You know what, when you was talking about hiking, I was listening to a message Sunday or yesterday from this pastor that was telling a story. I forgot what country it was, but this guy was sharing his testimony how he went on a hiking trip and the earthquake took place, and literally like about 7 or 8 people died, but he was able to survive because he was holding on to the guide who gave him instructions on what to do and all that stuff. So
Mhm.
yeah, but I can't think of the mountain, but I guess it must be a monster. It must be a monster. So, but I applaud you on that hiking thing. One day I'm gonna get out there. I mean, I've gone skydiving, so I I might as well go ahead and get to the hiking trail too. I might as well get to the hiking trail too. All right, so now I think I have a question for you guys. Back to you, Shelley. What is your favorite quote and why does it resonate with you, if you have one?
Favorite quote. You know what? I have it right here on my phone. It's my screensaver. So I'm gonna read it. It's my screensaver. But it says, "Excuses are the tools of the incompetent, which build monuments of nothingness, and those who specialize in them seldomly amount to anything." That's my favorite quote. Um,
Okay.
I don't know who said it off the top of my head, but that's my quote because one of my main things growing up, especially in business, was or should I say as a child, one of the things I used to always do is procrastinate and say stuff. I always say stuff to keep up with what everybody else was talking about, so I would regurgitate a lot. And I realized growing up in life, everything I did only reached a certain point and remained stagnant because I was only limited to what I had heard. And so, listening to that made me just do my own research and further educate myself to know more than everybody. So I could do more than everybody. And it's funny I say that because I have a family member that I don't, he all right, but one day we was talking about business. We have a lot of businesses together. And he said, "You read too much." And it made me look at him in a whole nother light. Like, I see if you're the smartest person in the room, you're in the wrong room. Yeah. So, yeah, that's my favorite quote. Long story short.
Wow, that was powerful. Hold on, Cola. Cola, you were getting ready to say something.
Yeah, I was gonna say that was very honest.
Yeah.
I mean, because a
Okay.
lot of people just regurgitate what they hear, and they don't want to say that they just got it from somebody else without putting thought into it. A lot of people do that, but
Mhm.
I mean that awareness and that awareness is big, and then the honesty to tell us that most people don't reveal. I used to, do that or be that because everybody wants to appear smart and big all the time or one up. So yeah, that was big.
Absolutely, absolutely. All right, so King, you got disconnected when I was trying to introduce you. So, tell these amazing people a little bit about you before we jump into our conversation.
My name Big King. I got a new clothing brand. It's called Big on God. As you can see on my shirt, it's not a brand. It's a lifestyle. It's a movement. We just bringing people close to God. I'm a servant for God. It really ain't nothing much to say. I'm just being the change I want to see. That's it.
Look, I'm gonna give you your
Yeah.
flowers and your hand clap on that one.
Yeah.
Thank
I'm
you.
gonna give you your hand clap because that is so important to be the change that you want to see because a lot of people don't. So while I have you right now, what's a personal motto or a quote that you live by?
Don't expect nothing from nobody. You won't be mad at from nobody. Don't expect nothing from nobody. You won't be mad at nobody because when you expect things from people, they're gonna always let you down. God ain't gonna never let you down. So you expecting something from anybody, you gonna always be mad because they're gonna always let you down. So you just gotta live by God, and it's just like even in the streets, like how people tote around gun for protection. Like I tote around God for protection. Cause like if I'm protected by God, none can't. You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna always win the war. But if you protected by a gun, somebody else can come with some more guns and or come blow you up, anything. But it's just like just like having God in your spirit, like just living out your dreams and goals and like manifesting your life, like manifesting everything you want, and for manifestation. So like I'm a I'm a true firm believer. I know, not even a believer. You are your thoughts, so you are what you think. You got to be a product of your thoughts, not your environment. No matter where you at, you can't look at where you at. You got to look at where you going, and you just got to keep on going towards the light. I just drove through a storm in South Carolina, and I kept going, and I made it through the storm, and it's just like that's life. You just got to keep on going and look at life like nothing ain't bad that happened to you. Everything happened for you. So when you look at life like that and know like who you is and you just comfortable in your own skin, you love yourself, you love your own company. So no matter what, you like always at peace. When you at peace with yourself, that's all that really matter. That's what I feel like life about. Like it ain't about going to church or this or that, because only you can have that relationship with God. You can't go nowhere and get that relationship with God. You gotta learn how to meditate and just be grateful for everything. That's it.
That's
That's it.
that's that's beautiful. And let me tell you something. So you just did like a whole little confirmation because before this call, I don't know how I ended up,
Big
maybe because I felt
confirmation.
you was gonna say it, but I found myself thinking about how I can come home on Friday and I don't have to leave the house again until Monday. And it's because I like my company. So for you to say that after I was thinking that less than an hour ago, that's powerful. So thank you for that, my brother. Thank you. Mr. Troy, what's something that no. If you could change one thing about the world, what would it be?
Greed, greed. I think, and what makes me think of that is I watch the way people who have a lot move. A lot of people who have a lot, they forget about everyone else because all they're thinking about is getting more, gaining more, gaining more. It's not about how I can improve or change or help the society at large. That we got people in this country that could afford to change the entire structure if they chose to. They have that kind of wealth. And so I think one of the things I would change is just greed, because I think people, that's toxic. That's toxic. It sounds good to a degree, but then there comes a time where it's like, well, how much is enough? How much is enough? Is it going to be ownership of people? Because you already own so many things. How much ownership do you need? How much wealth do you need? You're still not happy. So you're still not wealthy. You're wealthy in monetary gains. Yeah, but you're still not wealthy in other ways, spiritually, maybe mentally. Like, so there's some other things that go on there. So I would, mine would be greed. That would be my take. Is if I could eliminate something, that's what it would be. The greedy mindset.
You know what, that, see, you brothers are bringing y'all already bringing some power to this conversation, because even earlier today I was I was joking, but not. I was saying, like, you know what, y'all need to let women run this world right now. If we run this world, we can make effective change, and it'll be abundance for everybody. It will be love. It will be, because we nurturers. I know everybody ain't agree with me, but I put together a good case when I said it. It sounded good when I said I use Queen Elizabeth. She running her country, but so. But it was just a little fun that I had. But no, I can really appreciate you on that, because people seem to accumulate toys, they accumulate things, and they're still not happy, because why? They're assigning what we say all the time on this platform. They're assigning happiness to outside external forces, when really it needs to start from its inside. Cola, anything you want to say to anything that has been said before I start diving in? Okay. Okay, so y'all know I like to tell y'all what the food day is today, the little fun fact. So the food for today is National Strawberries and Cream Day. So I like strawberries, I like cream. So hey, yeah, so that is the food for today. And then today is National Waiters and Waitresses Day. So it's a day to recognize and appreciate the hard work of the waiters and waitresses and other staff members, just to show our gratitude to the work that they do. All right, so listen, this week there will be no talks on current events, because last week the current events took over the whole conversation. Troy, you need to go back. We were supposed to have a whole conversation on real estate, and I said one word, which was Diddy, and we ain't never get to that whole real estate. And I mean, we ended up 2.5 hours on here. So it was good conversation, but we never got to the top. So there will be no current events.
I'm so glad. I'm so glad, because there is more.
So we're gonna say that for next week. We're gonna say that for next week. We're gonna say that for well, I don't know, because next week I actually have the owner of a radio station, African American woman, gonna be on here with us next week. She owns I think her radio station is WERD, and the National Black Hall of Fame president or associated with them. So we'll see how that play out too. But okay, so I'm gonna ask each one of you men this question to start the conversation. King, because I know you said you had limited time. King, can you hear me? King, can you hear me? You on mute. Okay, we'll circle back.
What's up? I hear you.
Okay.
I hear you.
Okay. Now I'm gonna ask all of you this question. So Shelly and Troy, y'all get to think about it. So, cause he's gonna be the guinea pig on this one. If you were to write a letter titled "Dear Women," what would you say to them in it?
Me?
You can digress if you want. Okay. You can defer the question if you want to.
No, I'm good. I got you. You say if I can write a letter to women, right?
Mm-hmm.
Dear women, first of all, like, we love y'all for y'all. We love y'all who y'all is, the image that God created y'all to be in. So you don't have to do all that extra stuff, you know. And we love y'all no matter what men say, it's like, because you got to think about it. Men act like women and women act like men. So that's why we in the predicament that we in. So I would say, dear women, start acting like women, start carrying, like feminine energy, like, nurturing. Like that's what women for, nurturing, loving, kind. You don't have to be a man. You don't have to be somebody you're not. You don't have to be strong, man. You got real kings out here. You got real kings, and god dang, we love you. You feel me? So like we need each other. And I say, dear women, like men need you and you need men. And I would say, like, how women done just let themselves go. Like, I'm the bad B, I'm the bad H, I'm this. Y'all ain't, y'all goddesses, y'all queens. We love y'all. And we just love y'all for y'all. You know what I'm saying? And we want y'all to, keep y'all head up and stay strong, and come to us and express yourself and communicate so we can get down to the bottom of the war between us. What we done feel for. Women feel for the trap and men feel for the trap. So I would say, dear black women, stop falling for the trap and love your kings, because it ain't no king without a queen. It ain't queen without a king. We need each other. Love, dear black women.
Love that. Yes, yes,
Mm-hmm.
yes. Well said, King. Well said.
Mm-hmm.
Wisdom, wisdom, wisdom. Yes. So now here, I don't know if I want to read the one that was in the comment first, or I'm gonna let y'all go first, because somebody put one that I'm gonna go ahead and read it. Somebody put in the chat, dear women, break the chains of the slave master. I like that. I like that. Facts. Facts. All right. Let's see. Troy, what would your letter say?
I think my letter would start off letting women know that, dear women, you're not meant to do this alone.
Mm,
None of us were. Let's start there.
yes.
You weren't meant to do this alone. You weren't supposed to go through this life all by yourself. You weren't supposed to be a parent all by yourself. You weren't supposed to do this all by yourself. You weren't supposed to carry these bags all by yourself. Let me give you a hand, okay? As King speaks very eloquently about, let's think about how you can allow somebody else in. Let someone else help you with those bags. Let someone else be in community with you. Maybe the person you have beside you isn't the person that's for you. However, you still have to respect him, them, and there's still other people out here that have love. All of us aren't the same. Some people don't have any home training. And this is true. This is fact. We have to see how, like, we have to look at these things a little bit differently, and we have to love on one another. You won't hear men say, and I said this earlier when Tammy and I were talking, you won't hear men say, hey, you know what? I don't need a woman. I don't want a woman. You don't hear
No,
men say wanting to
no,
get rid of women. But I hear a lot of
never.
women wanting to get rid of men. And I think I understand. As someone said in the chat, you do have to break those chains, because this stuff was taught to you. This stuff has been embedded from day one. This stuff was embedded in you before you even came to fruition, before you ever were birthed. This was already toxic stuff that was already in us from slavery and so forth. So as we talk, women, what I want you to recognize is that we are men. We are here to hold you. We are here to help you. And I also want you to understand, none of us are mind readers. I need you to communicate and understand that I need you to say what you need. Don't think this is some fairy tale where somehow, because I can listen, I understand what you're thinking. I can't read minds. I need words. So when you say to your king, hey, I need you to take the garbage out, I understand. I need to go take the garbage out. But when you look at it and you say nothing and you get frustrated, I don't know what the hell you're upset about. So what I would say to dear women, understand nobody reads minds. Understand that we are all here to do this together. I can't do it without you, and you shouldn't be so willing to try to do it without me. There's nothing great about saying I'm a strong woman. You shouldn't want to be a strong woman. You should want to be a great woman, as great as you can be. And don't get me wrong, there's nothing wrong with it, but some of this stuff is not necessarily great. It's not as great as it might sound. It sounds like it's good, but in the end, sometimes we sound so masculine as a woman, it seems like you don't need no help. How do I feel if I'm coming into a situation where you don't need me? If you don't need me, why am I here? Why would I want to be a part of that? So you got to also be inviting, as King was talking about. So as I talk about this, I'm gonna leave it alone, but I'll just say, ask for what you want. And also, it's okay to be a woman. It's okay to be a woman nowadays. You don't have to be all these other things, as King also mentioned. You don't have to be everything else. You can just be a woman. And guess what? Men love feminine women. It's not gone. It's not dead.
So let me speak on it. You know, I heard a woman saying this, right? You know how women try to take the man role, they try to control everything, right? So if a woman knew her place and she knew how to be feminine, she's gonna be able to take control anyway, because when we love our women, we're gonna go to them and ask their opinion of everything we do. So that means everything we do, we're gonna come to you and we're gonna get your opinion, and we're gonna baby, should I do this? Should I do this way? So the thing that you wanted to take control, you already in control. You know what I'm saying? Because you with me. Like I'm the head, you know, and you my rib. So I can't go nowhere without my rib. So you already in control. So just stop trying to be in control and lay back, and the control will come to you. You know, so don't think like you gotta be like manly, because that turn a man off. A man he can't deal with another man. Like, even though you a woman, you acting like a man, so it's like you a man. You know what I'm saying? Because it's your thoughts. You know what I'm saying? No matter if you in this body, but you are how you acting, you know, and you only could be as pretty as you are on the inside. So you got to be pretty on the inside to be pretty on the outside. Your attitude got to be pretty. You know, your respect, you know, your loyalty to God. You know, if you loyal to God, you won. That's it.
Wow. Troy, you sound like you was moving. What you was about to say, Troy? Let it out.
No, I just wanted to give shout out to King for what he's saying. I mean, he said it. I don't have nothing to say other than yes.
Look, high five, virtual high five. Man, first of all, y'all got me about in tears, especially Troy. When I had to catch myself, I was about to well up in tears. I'm like, wait, I'm not supposed to get emotional here. But this is what this is about. I want to hear y'all heart. I want women to hear your heart. Because again, this is how change is affected. Shelly, dear women, what would you say?
Dear women, what would I say? I think the two gentlemen already said everything. I don't know how to follow that. But so I'm gonna take what they said and then I'll just add to it that I think dear women need to understand that, like, our differences are our strengths. And like King said, I don't need you acting like me or me acting like you. You're equally as powerful as us. You're just powerful in your feminine way. And let us be powerful in our manly way. And I think if women followed that thought, they would find men that they trust to allow to lead them, and not settle for men that they don't really trust. So now they have to be in their masculine and lead as well. Yeah. So that's it. Just you know, build it in your strength, because your strength is 10 times as much powerful as ours. Y'all just don't know it yet, because that mentality then got y'all thinking y'all got to fight for what you already have, and that's the power. Because like King said, anything, I've never met a man that when he got a decision maker, I said this before, If I got a decision to make about business, about life, I'm gonna go to my homie and be like, "What you think?" And I'm gonna go to my partner at work and be like, "What you think?" Then I'm gonna go to my woman and be like, "What you think?" And I guarantee you, the decision I make is what she's gonna make. I may just go back to the homie and be like, "So I decided we gonna do it this way." But she know she can sit in the background and be like,
I
she can
did
pat
that.
herself on, yeah, that's me. Like you don't gotta be seen, you hold the power. You just gotta sit back and enjoy it. Yeah.
Oh my God, you guys see this? Y'all dropping them. You dropping them. Okay, so studies show that the three top causes for divorce are infidelity, financial issues, and communication. Y'all said a lot in what y'all said, but why is it that we're still having the problems with infidelity? Let's start with that in relationships. Why do you guys feel that is still taking place? Anybody can jump in and answer the question.
I'm gonna jump in and I'm gonna get on the edge with this one, but
You
the
always
mild
do.
part, the mild part I'm gonna say is I think the problem with infidelity is because people have convinced women that they can do what men can do, and or I don't want to say what men. Yeah, I ain't gonna say it. They can do what men can do, and like I say, women are the most precious things on earth. You can't be out there and spreading yourself thin, and that makes them feel better thinking that they done did what the man did and cheated, or if a man got 3 4 women, they could have 3 4 men. And I think the reason I think that comes into play, just like I said, from the teaching. Every woman is telling them to be like men, and it's just like y'all too valuable. You got to get back on your throne and sit tight and let the queen sits there and watches the crowd, the lower level ladies out there showing themselves and doing that. That's not for everybody. So I think too many women
Oh,
are
can I
are
touch
listening.
on it? Can I touch on it? Can
Yeah.
I touch on it, my bro? So first of all, I'm gonna say emotion. Emotion is a feeling that come and go, and a lot of women they go off of feelings. They do not go off of facts and opinions. They don't go off of, you know what I'm saying, facts. They go off of how they feel, and that's the reason why a lot of stuff don't work, because it's like you could be emotional and you could feel like this, but that's not a fact. That's just like how women, okay, a woman, boom, a woman thinks she can have friends when she got a man. You can't have no friend when you got a man. Your man is your friend. Another man don't want to do nothing but take you down. He don't want to be your friend. He want to get in there. You know what I'm saying? So, long story short, it's just like respect. You gotta treat people how you want to be treated and put people in your shoes. You can't be out there chilling with other men and doing this. You don't want your man to be doing that. You see what I'm saying? Because you talking about the way you feel. Oh, I ain't know this or that, but you just gotta be like realistic and be real, and you gotta do like what's right, because that's how a lot of men get killed. Because the woman feel like she ain't got to tell him about this, and then when the other man come, now it's a situation. Now two men, two lions, they fighting over the queen, and one lion gotta go. So it's like that's why women gotta learn how to communicate properly and like do the right thing instead of being in their feelings and their emotions. They gotta learn how to do what's right instead of feeling how they feel. So women just gotta learn how to rise above their lower emotions because it kind of get the best of them. So back to that, that's why women gotta eat better so they can think better. They gotta drink better. H3O, drink, you know what I'm saying, instead of alcohol and and all that. So we just gotta eat better so we can think better. And that comes all the way down to it. Like gotta meditate and get in tune with nature and stop thinking a man just here to provide money. They trick y'all, they trick women with money. Money is nothing, it's fake. You can only pay bills and buy things that's not worth nothing. Unless you build wealth, which don't do. So understand the power. We provide protection, security. We provide you know what I'm saying, your higher level of thinking. We provide consciousness. We provide structure. We provide order. We provide everything in the house. Without a man, a house is not a home, because the children are gonna run over that woman because she too feminine. You see what I'm saying? So, like I say, that just is what it is. Like that's facts. a man is needed in every household. So a woman got to understand her role and understand she need a man and a man need her. Just is what it is. Think about it. They tricked us with Mother's Day and Father's Day. Now you celebrate Mother's Day separated. That's how they divided all this. Think about it. They divided the holiday, Mother's Day, Father's Day. We made this baby on the same day. Why is it a Mother's Day and a Father's Day? No, that
Your computer breaking up on us, King. I guess as you traveling.
Okay. Oh look, yeah, it's my service going bad. So I'm gonna let y'all finish this off. I love y'all.
All right, thank you for your input, King. You were a gem. Thank you, my love. I appreciate you. We'll be in touch.
Queen. Nice to meet you. Nice to meet y'all. All right, my brothers, my king, stay up. Love y'all.
All right. So actually, Shelly, you were saying something that just really like when you was talking about the women, and and we've said before how music influences, and it really don't help, especially the younger generation, when Glorilla say, if my man cheat, I bet we get even. You know what I'm saying? Stuff like that does not help this case.
Yeah, I think women, and I don't think the women that sing that feel that way, because every woman that sings that pretty much has a man at home. She just telling the youth. And just to add on to what he was saying, like by nature, we're just not built the same. Not saying one is right and one is wrong. I think we're civilized enough as human beings where if you give a woman your word, that should be your word. If you promise her monogamy, then you need to give her monogamy. But by nature, women aren't designed like that. Anytime a man enters a woman, he's leaving his DNA with her for the rest of her life. Men, we can just wash it off. So it's just different. It's not the same. You guys to give birth, the whole child comes through you, so you got to keep the canal clean. We don't have that issue. Any species of animal in nature, the male has his herd, tribe, pride, whatever he has that he has to take care of. And even today in modern times, if you think about it, most women date a man that got 2-3 baby mamas. He got to take care of all three of them. He might not be sexually active with all three of them, but he definitely has to make sure all three are together and straight. So a man will always have multiple in one aspect or another. It doesn't, like, I think the people gravitate to sex too fast and too much. It's not always about sex. We need to get that out of our mind first. And last, a man could have sex with a woman and not give two craps about her. For a woman to allow a man to enter, she has to have some type of emotion or feeling towards him. So it's a whole different battle for her. Now there are some women that can just go get some and leave, but majority of women, to let a man even get close enough to you and then conquer you, to get on top of you, sweat on you, put his thing in you, and leave his seed in you, you have to have some emotions involved in that. Well, women always have some emotions involved in that. And so men don't, so that's also a difference. And also, like you said, men, we fight to the death. Women just get mad and girl fight. So, like I said, God just didn't make us the same. And not saying it's okay, but like I say, if a man sits in front of a judge and vows to be with only that woman, I think he's smart enough to honor that, and he should honor that. But just in nature by itself, that's just not the way it is.
Wow. Sure, you want to piggyback off of any of that?
I think for me, my favorite thing to tell people is, listen, man, if I got good home cooked food at home, there ain't no need to go out. And so I'm gonna tell you, I ain't seen a restaurant yet that I need to go to if I'm getting good home cooked food at the house. So if my needs are being cared for at the house, I don't really see where I got enough time to go take care of some other shit. See, I hate to say it like that, but that's what it is. I ain't got time to go out and look for something else if it's right here at home. And I know that pisses people off, because it's like, well, I what do you mean? Like, I already got all these other responsibilities. I'm not saying that you don't. What I'm saying is, though, if the focus is making sure that we're cared for, it should be reciprocated. And if not, then maybe this ain't for you. But a real man will recognize that this woman is pouring into him,
Mhm.
and this woman is taking care of him, and he gonna come home at night.
Mhm.
Come on.
Like if I'm coming home and all my needs are met, I ain't got I really don't have time nor the energy to go and find something else on the side.
Mhm.
I ain't got a lot of time for side nookie because I got what I need at home already. As a matter of fact, because my mind is tied up with you, I ain't really got time to think about nobody else because I'm thinking about you.
Come
Mhm.
on.
I'm thinking about how I can get home to what I got. Now, when you get to that point, understand that I'll be ready to die for that. And so I think a lot of women don't get that part either.
Mhm.
You do what it takes to get him. You got him. He's wrapped in. He's locked in. And you decide things change for me. That's where it get a little funny. Because he, like he said, we fight to the death. And so for us, it's a whole different ball game going on now because I'm all the way in, I'm all the way locked in, and now you on some other stuff. And that happens in life. But I think this is something, you know, that's conversations for men to have as well, is on that flip. But I really do believe if we are putting in the time, if you are putting your man first and you making sure that he has his needs met, he's gonna make sure that he does everything to make sure that your needs are met as well. And that's something that I've just seen from observing, watching, even living. It's just when you don't put in that kind of energy and it's not that important to you, then you're gonna get what you get. Like you really are. If you don't make that person priority, and I know there's times because somebody in the chat probably saying it right now. That ain't always the case. Nothing's always 100%.
Mhm.
Nothing's 100%. No statements we make are so factual that they can't be off. So, but majority of men, if they're occupied, if their mind is occupied, if you still sending them those nice little things you did to get him, you know, send him a little something, little picture here, little can't wait for you to get home there, you're gonna still get the same result. He gonna still want to come home. He gonna still be excited about coming home. You just gotta find ways to keep it going. I'm not saying it's supposed to be all the way on you, but if you can keep that mindset, then maybe he can keep his too.
You know, I was listening to an interview with this gentleman. He wrote this book. Um it the short part of it was The Comprehensive Man. I forgot his name was Julian Wilson. Wait a minute, hold on, because I made a note of it in my phone and I didn't pull the man. Okay, the moment demands. The Moment Demands, Master 10 Characteristics of the Comprehensive Man by Jason Wilson. And that interview, I haven't read the book, I put it on my list, but just some of the things that he talked about, from pretty much everything y'all saying about the leader, and every man wants a safe space and they want to be able to lay their head on the lap of a woman. And even when you said, Shelly, about how some men, you know, men can have sex with no regard. And he, you know, he talked about, you know, that was something that was instilled in him when he was young. He said he was trying to hold himself out before having sex, but then his partners was like, no man, you supposed to hit that, you supposed to do that. And he found himself having meaningless sex with women that he cared nothing about. Do you guys find that those type of conversations, or have you encountered those along the way, or do you still know some? Because listen, age don't mean nothing. There are still guys that think in that mindset. Anything you guys can add or take away from what I just said?
Um, Go ahead.
No, all I can say is I feel like that is something that is instilled in us, in many of us, from day one. Like as soon as you old enough to be active, that's what it is. It's like, hey, you know, even the older men around you, it's like, hey man, young blood, get out here and get you some of that. You know what I'm saying? And so that's like kind of a part of the mentality, at least initially. I think it was older. It was my older age, my now age, where I'm a little bit different because now it's not about the sport. It's more about like, so I don't even really want to deal with you unless I'm looking at furthering something. So at this point, I'm only going to put my time into you because time is money and I really ain't got a lot of time. So if I'm gonna put my time in you, then I need to know that I am gonna get, you know, like I'm investing in you at this point. But as a youth, up, you know, coming through the ranks, that was different. It was a whole different thing because it is about, you know, there's a certain piece of it that is almost like a conquering. And there's a certain mentality that comes along with that. I think a lot of men go through that. You know, I mean, I think that's a part of it. If you're an athlete, if you're a decent looking man, or if you just got a hell of self-confidence, like my man King talk about, you know, you're gonna be out here and you that's part of it. I think there are things that of course can be changed, but when and for me, older age is one of those things that changes. But you know, younger me is different. You know, it was conquering at the time. So
Yeah.
Shelly might have something different.
Yeah,
What you got,
I was gonna say it's 100% about conquering as a like just men as a species. We're natural conquerors. It's just it's like innate in every man from birth. So we really can't help that, and that's why they say women mature faster because you guys are more softer thinkers, thinking about the future and stability, and because you bear children, so you know you got to have that stability for children. But men, we're natural conquerors, and I just think that's the way it is. But the thing with men is, like you said, when we're younger and we think younger, we act younger. As the Bible says, he thinks like a boy, he acts like a boy. When you become a man, you start thinking like a man. And over the years of a man, seeing the damage he does to women, you know, getting caught or deceiving or hurting them, you know, because women are territorial too. I think that guilt from seeing that, which takes years for a man to accept, is the thing that turns him into an older man where he's like, I can't do that with this one. This one here special. She's doing everything like Troy said, making sure I'm straight, I'm overfed, oversexed, notes, pictures, you know, happy when I get home. So it just takes a certain point for a man to reach through example of you know, heartbreaks and disappointing others to where he's like, I just can't do that to my woman no more. Be it in a long-term relationship or be it single over the years and it's time to settle down and you done seen all the hearts you broke and you're like, oh, I'm not doing that to this one. So it just takes a while for a man to get out of that conquering stage to where he feels I've conquered all the territory I need, and you know, and I done found my king. I done built my castle. Now I'm ready to start my kingdom with my queen. So it's a process, like Troy said. We just it's just natural. We gotta have it.
Can I ask a question?
Of course.
So the conquering being natural, do you not think that that's grooming?
No.
Because, well, okay, so we know men and testosterone, and men are born hunters. We know that. Men they go out there, they knock it down, they kill it, they get it, they drag it home. This is the makeup of a man. In fact, he's physically built to do those things. So that's there. But as far as the conquering women, and I ask if that's a matter of grooming, because there's many things that men can be with that energy. That energy can be used, can be taught to be used in other areas. It can be taught to be used in, okay, you know, as a, you know, as a, when we're kids, they're always saying, well, what do you want to be when you grow up? That energy could be trained to be used in that area, conquering your dreams, conquering your goals, like it is for us females. You know, it's the main, we're not taught to conquer anything, but we're taught to create a life for ourselves, create a life for our future families, position ourselves, you know, so we're taught to conquer those type of things. So, and that's grooming too. So I'm wondering if in not just the African American community, but just in just in communities, period, if you think that that type of grooming is, do you think it's something that you've been trained to do as far as conquer a woman versus trained to conquer other things in life that are most important.
Well, I'm a jump in, Troy. Go ahead.
I said, do you understand my question? Like,
No, and I think once again that goes back to what King was saying. Women always express how you feel. That's a feeling. The fact is that us men, we weren't groomed to do that. That's something no man taught us to do that. We naturally grew up knowing we wanted, what we saw. That's been evident in history from the beginning of time. Even God himself rewarded his top followers with multiple wives. So that wasn't grooming. That's just the way we are. And so, like I say, some men, when you get old enough, you learn to control that. But it's not grooming. It's a fact. That's just the way we are. Just like it's a fact. You weren't groomed to create. It's in you by nature to create. No one taught you that. You naturally, as a woman, woke up one day and felt your woman parts, your woman beauty. You wanted to create children and have your own. That comes from nature. That doesn't come from grooming. And a man wanting to create, the conquer, doesn't come from grooming. That comes from nature. And most men, God made us to where we conquer all our dreams. We still conquer our women. We conquer our careers. We conquer our household. We do all that naturally. That's what makes us men. That's why we're bigger, stronger, et cetera, so we can have the capacity to do all those things. There's only when you get older do you start losing sight of your dreams because you're chasing women and then you fall short. But when you're younger, you have that stamina to do it all.
so when you have an older guy, and I've seen it, I mean, if you live through life, you'll see this, and you'll hear the little boys get the question, how many girlfriends you have?
Mm-hmm.
But the girls don't get asked, how many boyfriends do you have?
Because by nature, that's just us. Boys need all them girls to learn. That's how he learns how to treat his wife through going through the process of, oh, this girl likes that, these girls like this, girls don't like that. That's how we learn, and we end up finding one to settle down with because that's it. And the old man didn't help us out. We were going to do it anyway. He just wanted to make sure we were going through the phases of being a boy to become a man, to have the stability and the mindset to handle his home.
Okay, so throughout your lifetime, just hearing on a regular basis, regularly, as you, from the time you enter preschool, how many girlfriends you have? Preschool, kindergarten, at 4, 5, how many girlfriends you have? First grade, 6, 7, how many girlfriends you have?
It wasn't grooming. We already felt it. I was asking myself that.
Oh, but how do you get? Okay, so I want to get into that because we'll get into a big discussion.
I need you to understand. You're telling me how women feel a man should think. We don't know why we feel that way.
No, I'm not. I'm not telling you how you should think. What I'm asking is those experiences that a boy goes through with his first interaction with uncles and older cousins and older brothers. Most of those interactions are, not most of them, but a lot of them are heavily weighed on how many girlfriends you got. Ooh, look at her. She got a big booty. Ooh, do you like her? Ooh, do you like this? When you're constantly getting that throughout your boyhood, throughout your childhood, then you're in your adolescent years, then you're in your teenage years, when you are constantly getting pointed in that direction, you wouldn't call that grooming. And that's a constant thing. And then when you're hearing it in them, you're getting it with your uncles, cousins, big brothers.
Not true though. We don't hear it like as much as y'all think. We don't hear it as much as you think. And when we do hear it, it's just confirming what we feel. It's kind of like when we hear it in first grade, it's like, dang, I was feeling that. When you hear it again in second grade, it's like, yeah, I was really feeling that. It's just men confirming what we feel, so that's what we speak about. It's not a grooming. We all are thinking it. It's basically the elephant in the room. And he done it before, so he knows how we're feeling. So he's not grooming us. He's saying how many girlfriends you got, because he's been there. He knows how we feel. we're wondering that ourselves. So he's just being an uncle is opening the door to have those manly conversations and get the proper guidance. Where most uncles is like, you better be careful, you're gonna get caught up. Don't do that. Like if there's any grooming, the grooming from uncles is you better slow it down and stop. The grooming from no older man is keep it going, keep it alive. It's not. It's meant like y'all think we talk like we ain't like that. Or
So,
what do you think, Troy? What do you think?
I'm only asking because of what I have seen and what I've experienced. My dad has nothing. I had nothing but uncles growing up, and I've seen them. I've seen them with my boy cousins.
Right, you were on the outside looking in. We were feeling it.
Okay, so even though he was feeling it, do you think that there should be some balance there? What I've seen them do. I've seen them prematurely give him alcohol because they felt like that was a manly thing to do. Like I've seen them do that. I've seen them constantly gear him in the direction of women. But here's one thing I've never seen. I've never heard them. I've never seen them gear him in an area of them in areas of education.
That's because you got mad and left, or they said, "Hush up, is women around." Believe me, we talked about that. But I will talk. Like, believe me, you either was like, "Oh, I'm sick of hearing this," and you left, and that's when that conversation came at the latter end of the conversation.
Okay.
But everything we've learned about education, about business, about everything we've learned as men came from another man. So we were just taught all of it. You guys, not every woman, because there's no one size fits all, but you guys only focused on why he got all these girlfriends, because that's what hurt you the most. It's like, dang, I thought he was mine. So you focused on that.
All right, so let's move past the grooming.
Let me say
Troy,
this.
I want to hear Troy.
Let me say this. I'm not gonna dispute one way or another. Really, what I will say this, because here's the thing. It is a feeling. Those things do happen, no doubt about it. Here's where I'll compromise. Could we potentially teach different? Could we potentially teach some other things? Maybe. I don't think none of us will argue that. Like, I think we can meet on common ground and be able to say, okay, my feeling gonna be my feeling. I'm still gonna feel like I need to get to it, and I might still just get to it. But could we do a better job of talking to the youth about other positive things to do? Absolutely. And I think real men do. I think real men, real fathers, real uncles, real grandfathers, etc. I think they do. What I will also say, though, I think one of the things I understand now better than I ever did before is understanding you got to know where you came from to understand where you're going, right? Like you got to have some context. In our current situation where we are, we've been broken time after time after time after time. So we seeing remnants of men. The reality of it is a lot of our families are broken, and you might not have those rocks that you used to. You took a lot of those out in the 80s, 90s, if you didn't kill them off before, right? So the reality of it is that there is a lack of leadership. No doubt. I'm not going to sit here and argue with you on that. I think there's a lack of leadership. I think that could be better. Even Shelly's like, yeah, I think we all could say that. And so, yes, Cola, to your point, could there be some differences? Absolutely. Could we do a little bit better? Absolutely. I think we should do a little bit better.
Yes.
But as far as the other piece, as far as like how I think we could teach, like if I have kids today, I'd want to teach my son, if I had one, how to live a little bit different, how he can maybe control some of these things as best as possible, and why. Sometimes you have those conversations and sometimes we have not. And I will say part of that is because as a people in this country, we've had a lot of just broken leadership or none at all. And a lot of the reasons why we have some of the issues we have as men is because of, unfortunately, the brokenness of our homes. And that is what it is. You know, I mean, you'd be mad about this, but I don't think, you know, women can really raise men because you can't understand.
It's true.
Things you're not gonna get.
I agree with that.
It's true.
Right? I can't sit here and tell you I can raise a girl and because I don't understand everything about her. Even though I'm a birth worker, even though I know so much, I don't know what that feels like. I've never been through that before. I'm never going to go through that. So there's some things I can't do. And I'm just going to say, I can't do that. But I do think with all of those ruptures, all those brokenness, all those broken things that have happened to us over time, I think those are also conversations that we also have to have about how we can make some changes in the way that we lead, the way that we teach, the way that we go about it. Because it's not all about the conquer. It's not all about, praising the conquer. But it is true that the conquer is just a part of who you are. If you look at an old man, I'll never forget, I watched this old man in a mall one day. He just happened to be sitting out, his wife was shopping. And this man had to be in like his 80s. And I just watched what he was watching. I was people watching. And I just watched the way he was lurking. And he was cool, but when the right thing came by, you could see it in him. It wasn't for him, but it's still in him. Like he still wanted, he still was like, you could just see the wheels turning. It's still in us. It's just the way we built. I don't always want to move my head when I see something go by. It's just that sometimes it's innate on me. I don't even have no control over it.
We don't know we do it.
It just happens. I'm being honest. It just happens. So we try to control it as best we can, but the reality of it is this is also a part of our makeup. And don't act like you don't have some of this go on too. So,
and to piggyback on that, I know or like he said, there's a lot of men missing, a lot of those rocks missing, that we could get more education on better and finer things, or more important things like education, family, etc. But rest assured, from my experience, in every household where there is men, there's almost equal conversation about other things in sex or women. I grew up with a number of men. Every man in my family got 8, 9 kids. All of us do. But you best believe majority of our conversation was not about women. Now, what path we chose to make being young is different. But the men that are involved aren't just talking about women. That's what I say. I don't know if people do think that, but it seems to be the topic of most conversations. But that's not all we talk about, and that's not all we think about. And even me and my boys, we had them girl talks, but when I see it getting too much girl talk, I'm like, okay, see, that's your problem. You worried about that, and I show them what else is going on that they missing out on, business-wise, or person building himself up as a man-wise, looking at these women over here. So we get both sides, trust me. I just think the world only displays the wild side in us because that gets some views and ratings.
Okay, I'm gonna say this and move on that. And of course, it's obvious that in the household, kids are gonna get. I mean, it's just not one-sided. You're gonna get multiple of everything, and it's not just one-sided. But Troy, I wanted to ask you this. As far as we were talking, the main question was men being grown. That's what I was speaking to. Would you promote multiple women to your children, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10?
No, I don't think.
I was doing.
No, I mean, I wouldn't go out of my way to say, hey, look, go conquer as much as you can conquer, that kind of thing. No, I mean. That because too much of anything is not good, right? So I mean, at the end of the day, what I would want to teach is respect, understanding, etc. And I think that has been lost a little bit.
Yes, that's all
throughout. No, and I think I don't even think that's really arguable. I mean, that's why we have what we see in society.
That's right.
That because I can't identify with the people I see out in the street half of the time because that ain't how I'm moving in life.
Where are them people coming from? What kind of homes are they coming from? And be honest. What kind of homes are they coming from? Hey, because they jump on me. I need someone else to catch a blow. What kind of homes are they coming from?
I mean, most of the time, these are the homes that we're talking about, the ones with the broken families, the ones with just
single mothers,
a super mom,
okay, so let's talk about that. The single mothers are single let's talk about some of the factors as to why the mothers are single. Like this is where what Eminem said, will the real Slim Shady real please stand up? When are the real men gonna come stand up and come back into the house so that we, you know, in y'all amazingly beautiful Dear Women letter, you know, you all are saying the things that we really want and need to hear, but there's no action behind that. How do we create a culture and environment where there's action behind words like that? Because one thing, but even with love, right? We know love is an action word. Don't tell me you love me and then you beat my bleep bleep every time you get a chance to. That's not love. So when do we put the action behind trying to get the, you know, eliminate all these single mother households? Because when you really think about it, women are taking the position, and I'm not saying it's right or wrong, it's each individual choice. Just not my thing, but women are probably taking the role, I don't need a man, because they're hurt, they're being abandoned by men. So what can we do to change the narrative? Because ultimately that's what this is about, changing the narrative.
I think part of it is all for me personally. I think part of it is making good decisions and having conversations about how to make better, like good decisions in general, right? Like I meet a lot of women, and a lot of women don't necessarily make the greatest of choices, you know, with the people they choose to be with. If you choose to be with a person who's already have hella kids already, what do you think your experience is going to be? Ask yourself, what do you think your experience is going to be? What do
They
you
think
think
they're different.
what are you going to do
It
different?
won't be
You
me.
might be a superman, a superwoman, I should say. However, what is the expectation there? Like,
Look, he ain't gonna leave me because I'm gonna put it on him.
yeah, and listen, we done had it put on them 6 or 7 times already, and it came to fruition, and yet you next in line. So, and then you look at and you say, where the real man at? Well, a real man ain't necessarily gonna want to necessarily step up to that. Because now I got to take care of something you created and your bad decision. So
just was having a conversation with a man about that last night. So you're absolutely right. You're absolutely right.
I see it. I see it all the time. Or you say, okay, you know this relationship ain't going well. You ain't really trying to, you know, he ain't gonna really try to go to therapy with you. He ain't trying to work it out. Y'all ain't trying to really, it ain't really going nowhere already. You have a baby. Now you are tied to this. You are tied to this toxicity. Y'all have had a baby already. It's already toxic. You turn around, you say, well, you know what, shit, let me do this again. Are you expecting a different expectation? When you do it a third time, what do you think is going to be different a third time or a fourth or a fifth or so on? It's not going to change. If he won't shit from the beginning, he ain't going to be shit later. So don't go out looking for something. Like if it wasn't good from the beginning, it's not good. Like really, really take the time to really get to know a person, to really evaluate, to really like evaluate the situation. And I think we got to do a better job on all the way around the board with that, because I think we don't have real conversations. And when I'm in all, because you got to think I'm in all meeting spaces with all women, there's never accountability for the bad decisions that are made. And I'm not saying, and you see, I'm not defending men. I'm absolutely not defending men. There's some trash ass men out there. There's some trash ass women out there too. And then there's just people who just are making bad decisions. And I think all of this stuff connects in some ways. Like the music we listen to is telling us to go out and just smash everything. So it ain't just the uncles that are out here and folks like Colos. It's not just that. All the music lyrics are also telling me to go out here and smash everything I can.
I mentioned that. I mentioned
that. Right. And you said that about, yeah. So all of these things come together in a sense that like our society as Black folks is being broken apart by a multitude of things that are many of are out of our control. Like these things are being promoted on us all day, every day. and the real people, the real men that are at home and the real women are at home, you know, getting caught in the crossfire. But I do think we have to take a step back, a deep breath, and be more mindful about who we decide to be with, how we decide to approach a relationship. What are we looking for in a relationship? What is it that you really want? And making sure that you try to get something that you want. Don't just go for the guy just because he got the money, because he can have all the money in the world, but that means he might also have all the honey in the world. So he got the money, but everybody's wanting some of that. Stand in line. Get in line. Because guess what? He got a lot of options.
A lot. And I think first thing I think we need to take this off the table that Black folks are so broken and homes are destroyed and stuff like that, because over 41% of Black men are married with children and have families. So that I think that narrative has to come up, that it's majority of us are single and women of the streets, et cetera, et cetera. And then I think the other part is that destroyed the home is the welfare system. You know, almost over 30% of women are on welfare, where a man can't be in the home. So that's the next largest problem, is women chose welfare over men. And back when welfare was started in the 60s and 70s, men were working in that home. The government came in and said, if you want these extras, he got to go. So not blaming women for whatever reason, maybe we was in the draft, in the war, wherever we was at, they chose that. So it's just a small percentage of, like they say, these modern women that fell into the feminist movement that believe that education and their career is more important than their man. And so they're happy by themselves. And majority of women out there say they don't need no man because they are doing it by themselves. So they want a man to step up to their level. And that's not how it works. It's he who finds a wife. She ain't supposed to be looking for no man. That's the first problem. So, and you're not supposed to be comparing men to where you're at, because you care about your money and your career, because we the man, we want to lead with what we got, be it crumbs on the table or a lot. We just naturally want to lead with it. So that's the small problem that the media makes to be the largest problem, is that small group of women that don't need no man, or have been successful, making more than majority of men. So now they feel they want a man on their level, and there's not enough men on their level to compensate for all the women there.
Shelly, there's one thing, only thing I'll push back on that is this. I think when we talk about where we are now in our marriages, right? Our percentage of marriages. What does that look like now compared to where we were in the 70s?
Right now, it's at 41%. In the 70s, we was almost 80% of us was married and had homes. But
that's my point.
Right.
That's my point.
So
we can't say that we don't have some.
But you got to admit, a lot of it came from the draft, because when men went off to war, the fight, the women were stuck by themselves, so the government had to step. Well, they chose the government assistance over the struggle, which is fine, natural, whatever. But when the men came home, the women were doing it by themselves, where it was like, do you want this free rent and this, $1,000 a month in food, or do you want this man to come break his back? And women chose government assistance. And so I think that has slowly led to the decline where men are just, I ain't gonna use the word tired, but they're not finna compete. They're not finna step down and not be the head of their household because they got to match this woman, or because they got to. I done dated women on welfare and lived with them, and when they was like, oh, they come to do an inspection, you can't be here. After the second or third time saying that, I was like, you know what? I'm all right. I just won't be here at all. So it's so many factors that play into that, but I think those are the biggest scene, but the smallest concern, if that makes sense.
Yeah. I just think it definitely, what it shows me is that we have a problem.
Yes.
Okay. That's all I'm saying.
And I just want your opinion, Troy. I know Colas. Do men have a problem, or are we just having a problem dealing with women?
I think that's multifaceted, brother.
I know it is, but I want your opinion. Neither one of us know the facts. I just want your opinion.
Can I interject? Hold on, Troy. Before Troy answers, can I please interject?
Please.
I'm so glad you raised that question. But remember, one of our issues is communication and honesty and accountability. So before you answer that question, please don't feed us BS. Please be honest. Please be accountable. And please really communicate this effectively.
I think, as I started with, this is multifaceted. Like it is a both and. Like, you know, I think there's enough. There's enough to go around. The reality of it is our whole system as we know it has been broken in general. And that's really what's happening. And you can say no. Well, I'll challenge you and say we're not seeing the same things necessarily in other cultures. Like we are having a major issue now. You're seeing like divorces and things like that in the U.S. in general are just what they are. Like they're being impacted everywhere. But a lot of the things that we're really dealing with are things that historically have been done to us and created these situations with us, amongst us. And I feel like they affect us the most. I think that's what I see. What I see is that what we're suffering from is remnants of things that our government and everything around it has perpetuated upon us, and created these narratives and problems. And they are problems. We can't act like they're not. Numbers don't lie. And our numbers are not what they should be, nor where they were. We're not together like we used to be. And there's many reasons for that. So I'm not going to put that all on women. I'm not going to put that all on men. I'm going to say that part of this is by design. And
yes.
I think we have to start with the
fact that that's just a part of it.
Yeah, I think we have to start with the fact that the design has been working in their favor, not in ours. And I think once we can recognize that this is a part of a problem, like a bigger issue and a bigger way of being able to keep us apart, then maybe we can work on coming together. But right now, we haven't dealt with the real issue. And the real issue is everything around us is breaking us, slowly but surely. And so how do we recognize that that's happening to us and then reset, reevaluate, and be able to come back in a healthy manner to work together and make it work? Because right now, it's real tough. We do have too many women who feel okay with being masculine and running everything. I'm good. Well, I don't have I ain't even gonna start no conversation with you. Ain't nothing I can do for you. You don't need me. And guess what? Men need to be needed. Just like you want to be wanted, I do too. If you my woman and I don't show you no love, you're not gonna feel you're not gonna feel like you should be here. If you come in the house and I don't give you no indicators that you should be, we talk about communication. You don't have to use this to communicate. Most of our communication can be done with our faces, our eyes. It's nonverbal. So a blind person or a person that is mute can communicate. So I think we have something else going on that we have to address.
And you know what? As you were talking, I was thinking, Shelly put up a video this week on his story, or in the last couple of days, and it was showing a dog getting happy when its owner came home. And the man asked the question, like, men, are our women this happy when we come home? And he was saying, and Shelly, you can help me with this. If I get off course in saying it, if I'm recalling it correctly, he was saying if that's not happening, then his suggestion was you need to take a year off from dating and work on you. He was, did I say that correctly?
No, 100% correct. And also find women that are happy to see you.
Yes.
Yeah. And and not to cut you off, I'm gonna let you finish if you have more than me.
No, go ahead.
Okay. And also, I think we have to get out of the mind state that we don't need each other. Because I know majority of men, and not putting it on women, but majority of men know they need a woman. We said every day we can't live without our woman. We glad to say at the end of the night, be it a late night or whatever it is, we going to our woman. We're proud of that. But majority of women go around and saying they don't need a man or they don't want a man, not realizing that everything they do is a man. If the pipe break, they call a plumber, it's usually a man. Someone breaking their house, they call the police, which is usually a man. When they go to their job, majority of bosses is men. So women need men just as much as we need them. I just don't think a lot of women realize when they say they don't need a man, how silly they look because everything they do comes from a man. When the car breaks down, they go to the mechanic, is usually a man. So they could get all that from their man, or they could keep saying they don't need a man and getting it from multiple men. So I think that's the main thing is we have to understand that we do need each other.
And I agree 1,000%. I think what has happened over time is this is a defense mechanism, because I'm sure if you ask the average woman at the core of their soul, unless they like women, at the core of their soul, let's go heterosexual woman, she wants a man. But when she say words like that, that's because men have not made her to feel safe. And so that's her defense mechanism. So this is what we need. This is an ask of the men. Like, we need you all to come together and create the safe spaces. It's not really up for you to make us feel safe, but create safe spaces, just like you would want us to create safe spaces for you guys.
Right, but you can't heal what a person doesn't reveal. So if a woman's
that's fair.
saying she doesn't need it, then like Troy said, I probably wouldn't even have a conversation with you. So you kind of off on your own with that. For as far as women, like there's a lot of men that would love to be there, but once again, like Troy said, there's so many things that have destroyed us. And just on this particular subject alone, majority of women have succeeded education-wise, career-wise. Majority of men haven't. So when an average man steps to a woman, she's already got her mindset that she wants a man doing what she's doing or greater. So that she's cut out half of the population of men that would want to be there and take care of her like that.
That's fair. That's fair. Well, so I'm just gonna go on record and just say this. I believe in universal laws, and I believe in the law of attraction. So I believe that they can attract, whomever, but they of course need to work on themselves. And I think that that's what a lot of people miss in this dating thing. But I do want to ask, women tend to talk about their mental health. Do men have conversations? Because my understanding, y'all talk about sports, y'all may talk about women, stuff like that. But do y'all really have these conversations? Like, I think I'm struggling with mental illness. I think I'm dealing with depression. As a matter of fact, as I just said that. So I was at an award show on Saturday, and David Banner, the rapper, he actually shared last year he experienced the darkest depression of his life. And, and he was, as he was sharing the story, I was reminded that happens all the time because one, our culture had not been told to have the conversations with therapists and get the mental health treatment. And then, you see in statistics that men are, and they was trying to say are Black men, but I didn't find factual or truthful information on that. But they say the highest rate of suicide, of course, is by men. So my question is, what can we do to address the lack of conversations that need to be had that would help empower a person's mental health? How do we create the safe spaces to have the conversation? Because one of the reasons people don't like to have conversations is for fear of condemnation. They're for fear of judgment. How do we address these things?
I'm going to say one thing, and we're going to address your question, okay? The number one problem is how you just said, how women have succeeded and they want that, and you believe in the law of attraction and women can find what they want. That's not true. We have to stop telling women that, because majority of women want a man with 6 figures, certain height, and that's less than 10% of men. So every woman cannot have that. So that's a false narrative. Women have to stop telling women that it's possible for them to get, because numbers won't allow that. It's impossible for the number of successful women and unsuccessful women to feel they deserve that to get that, but everybody's looking for it. So we have to stop telling women that they can have what they want, because you can't.
I really was saying that both ways, but
So we all have to settle. Men don't want a woman with money. I don't know a man on this planet that care about a woman's money.
I'm not talking about for a woman with money. I'm just saying.
But and then back to what you were saying, I don't think there's enough safe spaces for men. I personally feel, I ain't gonna say never. I do got one family member that we vent to each other and we can tell the truth and cry, or he'll give me real advice, like you need to sit down and go hug on her, like stuff like that. But that's 1 out of 10 or 11 men. So there's definitely not enough men like that. And I don't know why we've been groomed to think we should be tough and hard. It has nothing to do with conquering women. But as a man, we have been groomed to believe we should be tough and hard. And part of me wants to agree with that, because we have the weight of the whole world on our back. If I'm worried financially about our future, I can't bring that home to my woman, because now she's going to worry, and she's going to put that worry in the children. And so as a man, I can't always go home and express myself. I think that's just nature. But we definitely need more places where men could probably talk to men and get manly advice on being vulnerable and open. And it is scary to be in. I'm just thinking of 2 situations. One, how sorry men are. I called one of my best friends and was like, fam, I'm going through it. I ain't feeling good. I mean, my daughter just left. So I'm like, man, I've been crying, emotional. Am I weak or what? And he was like, oh, nigga, don't worry about that shit. You need to worry about this.
You called the wrong person.
And the cold part about it is, as soon as he said that, I buffed up that he went to telling me about his problems. And because I'm at the top of the totem pole in the family, I had to listen to his stuff. So we definitely need that. And then another time, and this is just personal, where it's scary for men. I had dated a chick who was a psychiatrist or whatever, and I'd always asked her to like treat me, and she was like, "No, I can't. That laws govern them from doing it with their family or whatever." And I just begged her so long where she did it. I swear to you, in about 3 minutes of whatever she was asking me, I was in tears. I was remembering my great grandfather and how he took me fishing. And it was so scary to me. I was like, yeah, stop this. I'm cool. You ain't gonna have me out here. So I'm just saying that to say, us as men, we need more spaces with men. And there's not a lot, because a lot of men, I think men have more soft moments than what the world perceives, and it's by choice. But yeah, to answer your question, yes, we do need that.
That's thank you. No, that's what I needed. That's what I needed, Shelly, because you're not the only one, but no one the males are not brave enough to say that.
So here
they don't know it.
So this is it right here, from my opinion and from what I've seen. Not know it all, but the grooming of our little boys is what I have noticed is there's a bunch of toxic male grooming. When there's a lot of toxic male grooming. Sometimes when the dad is in the home, he screwed up himself.
But I don't like you saying that. Sorry, I'll make it brief.
Go for it.
Shelly, let me finish my point. A lot of times when the male is in the home, he's teaching those same habits, negative habits, and not just necessarily negative, but don't cry, boys don't cry. You look like a little girl, you acting like a little girl, dry them tears, get up, stop crying. That is toxic male grooming, teaching a boy. Teaching him that he can't have feelings, or what? Shelly, please let me finish. Teaching him that he has to suppress his feelings, or not teaching him a way to release the feelings in a more constructive way. So not only is he learning to suppress them, he's not learning to release them in a more constructive way, because we all have emotions. So that's one. The other thing is, like I said, that I can't tell you how many times I've heard that. How many girlfriend things do you have? Because us women just don't get that question. How many boyfriends do we have? So we're not even thinking about, we might like boys, but we're not thinking about having 5, 6, more than one. So, and then the toxic male grooming that I also see is also a boy having to be, now listen, I'm not into this soft parenting or nothing like that. I mean, males should be males, period. Males are the leaders of the home. And I just don't see men that are in the home grooming and training their sons to be leaders of families, or to be leaders in school, or to be leaders of their friends, to stand up, make your own decision, do the right thing. I don't care. You see what? I don't see that. And then most of the time, the man is not even in the home. So the little boy is trying to figure this out all on his own, and going along with the mother's lead. And like you said, women can't teach men how to be men. There's a certain point. For me, I mean, the boys, they're gonna need the nurturing, they need the loving. We all need that for growth and development. But at a particular age, at about 12 years old, in my opinion, I don't know, y'all might say younger, but at about 12 years old, it seems to me like mama needs to sit down, and daddy, daddy really need to get in there now, because this boy is he's fixing to be a man in a couple of years.
Right, Cola, let me jump in, because no disrespect, but I think you kind of went back, but I think where Shelly them are right now is where we need to be focusing on, because we kind of talked about everything that you just said, and then you added some extra, and that was very good. But the fact that what Shelly, that vulnerable moment, I didn't want to lose that. I didn't want to lose that. Troy, did you want to add anything to what Shelly said?
I knew Shelly wanted to say something, so I wanted him to be able to say it.
Yeah, Shelly, go ahead. Go ahead.
And I'll be quick. I was just gonna say that there's no such thing as toxic masculinity. It's kind of insult because we men, but I don't think women understand the weight on a man's shoulder, securing not only himself, a whole human, securing his woman, another whole human, his children, 2 or 3 other whole humans. He has that weight by himself. So it's hard.
That's not what I'm talking about.
Hold on.
I'm not even talking about that. That's
I'm
not
talking about
what
what Tammy's talking about. So
okay.
It's hard for a man to know that weight is on him, to have lived it, to failed at it, to succeed at it. And then he sees his son, and the very first thing on his mind is, I got to make him strong because I barely survived this moment. So I think by nature, or maybe not knowing, that's all we focus on. We fear what we're going through and how we almost broke 1,500 times. My favorite saying is, I'm looking for a curb to jump off. I'm glad it's just a curb. Like, that weight, I don't think my son can handle. So of course, my every conversation with him is man up. It gets harder. Man up. Stop that. Don't cry. Cause I know it's about to get. It's just the tip of the iceberg, and like I said, we don't get a place to let it off. So we have to hold it, right or wrong. So we just want our children to be able to hold it.
But that's the cycle that needs to be broken. Go ahead, Troy.
I'm just gonna say, number one, I don't think we should ever use the toxic talk because I think it's not helpful for like I just don't think it's helpful with what we're trying to do. When we start talking toxicity and all of this stuff, like to me, that's all that's these new terms. That's BS to me. There's masculinity, and I think it's needed. I think part of why we have a problem is because you're not used to seeing real men. You're not used to seeing real men, and I mean, like we speak differently. You know when you're talking to a real man because you fem up. So my thing is like I don't think we should ever use that talk. Do we really need some help and an outlet? Absolutely. Men don't have the outlet you do. That's why we die earlier oftentimes. Because you know what happens? If you look around, you'll find most of your men, just think about the men that are around you. A lot of times they have a wife and they're with their wives. And you'll notice that the wife has a hell of friends. They got friends, they got family, they got to do stuff, they got people to rely on, they got a circle.
Talk shows.
That man has very few. His support is the person beside him. Oftentimes, his friends dwindle, and part of it is we really just don't have the same support system. We don't even have really good friends, so we don't have a corner to turn to go and get these things off our chest. And while it's over here, and you thinking we don't have anything going on within, we're all over here hurting too. We're all over here feeling like I don't add up to enough. You know, it's tough. I don't feel like I deserve this, or I'm working harder to be able to prove myself that I deserve you. There's a lot going on within us, but we don't get to talk about it, or we don't talk about it. Some of us don't talk about it because we don't know. We don't understand how to talk about it. We don't even know what this feeling is. We just know that it's there. And so we just grin and bear it. That's how we live. All of that is like, they always talk about the helium in a balloon. We just keep putting this hot air, all this stuff in here until it bursts. And we die out. The reality of it is this is kind of how men live. And I think we still have to have some real masculinity too, because I get to see the flip. And this is going to be controversial and people ain't going to like what I'm going to say, and I really don't give a shit. I work in the birthing spaces. And because I work with people giving birth, I got a lot of things that I see. And a lot of times I'm sitting here and I'm looking at all of these women who are allowing everybody to be a woman. Being a woman is something special. You should fight for that. You should not let anybody be a woman because anybody ain't a woman. What you can do with your body is something special that I cannot do. You'll be in here snapping. Yes. Excited about somebody that can't go through your experience. You will let that person take over the room in your space. I'm a man. I'm over here looking at you like you done lost your dang mind. This is not okay. You should be proud to be women. You should embrace that you are women, and you should not let everybody take over your space to be that. And men will step up and tell you that. So I see a lot of problems, but these are some that should be very concrete and easy. We should be fighting about that. This shouldn't even be up for discussion. You have something special that everybody doesn't have. You may have a feeling. A feeling is different from a fact. A feeling is different from the reality. And people don't really like that. They don't want to talk about that. They don't like the way it makes them feel. because we're not supposed to say that. But that's the reality that we're dealing with now. I'm in these spaces all the time, and I'm sitting here and I'm looking and I'm saying, hey, y'all, are y'all realizing what you are allowing? That's toxic too.
Let me ask you, what exactly are you talking about? What's going on?
Well,
I'm listening.
What you're getting is I said it clearly enough. I'm not going to be so explicit. You're going to have to read between the lines. What I'm saying is, no, you're going to have to read between the lines.
You know what I'm saying? And I'm gonna tell you, y'all women can't be letting women that aren't on your standard. There's a lot of women that you know aren't women out here fast, hot, whatever, that y'all applaud and clap as women. That's one. And two,
I don't.
Only a person with a vagina can be a woman.
Right? We know that.
Okay, so you guys have allowed them people to claim womanhood and they're not women, and that's messing up the cycle. But
I'm talking about trans people,
gay, trans, whoever. But like he said, we don't want to talk about. But I'm gonna ask Troy a question. Do you think? And that's what Tammi said. The other problem is, since men aren't in the home, if I'm teaching my son one thing, he's gonna go home and listen to his mother, and his mother is gonna rule over him because she's with them all the time. So a lot of times we don't even bother telling our children how they should be because we're teaching them one thing and they go home and their mother tells them something totally different and tells them, if I put my son on punishment because his grades, then he go to his mama's house and he ain't on punishment. So I think men give up and just be like, you know what, since mama know it all, let mama do it. And women can't teach a man, and so men aren't men anymore. And two, just for Troy, I'm big into nature. So I think us as men, by nature, we're designed to go and lead our own pack. So I think as men get older, it's not that we're not there to teach each other. I think we just naturally just be like, we go off on our own. Like I got my own clan I got to worry about. And so we're not pack animals as men. So we don't really run in packs for men to teach men. And I don't want to call it a problem, but I think that's just nature and by design. So men aren't there to teach men because men don't run in packs.
I think it's also less of us.
Hold on, let me say this real quick because I don't want to forget it. So someone texted me and they said men don't like to appear weak in the presence of women. So I guess that could tie in.
But I'm more concerned about looking weak in front of another man than I am a woman.
Wow.
Yeah, but I mean, if you look weak in front of a woman, you know, it's a done deal with her. She ain't gonna respect that. Women don't respect that.
Oh, that's not fair. That's not fair.
They don't.
Majority. We won't say all.
And that's part of that grooming word that Cola has been bringing up to us. That's part of that. Women have been groomed that if a man cries, he's weak, this, that, and the other. Which again, that's another narrative that needs to change. But hold on, before y'all say y'all next thoughts, because I want to honor the chat. The chat said, well, this was when we was talking toxic masculinity, but
hold on, wait a minute, Paul. Let me pause it. I am not talking about toxic masculinity. I don't even agree with that statement.
Okay.
No. I said it's toxic male grooming keep it in the framework. I'm talking about with little boys and how we are growing and feeding our little boys. Toxic masculinity, I do not even agree with that phrase. I like a masculine man. I'm talking about I'm talking about it. Anyway, I'll go back to that. But no, toxic masculinity, I don't agree with that phase. I like with that phrase, and I love a masculine man. So let's not.
Thank you, Cola. I'm sorry, I misunderstood you.
Well, somebody put in the chat, Diddy is toxic masculinity. So
okay, but
So I'm just reading the chat, and then somebody said we need more alpha males. And then men that are open and honest about their struggles tend to get ridiculed by other men. I think that's along the lines of what we're talking about. men being honest and showing emotion isn't soft like some people have said in the past. And then Troy, as you were speaking, someone said, say that, brother. And then I see 98.9% true, but that I don't know what part that was. So okay, I just wanted to honor the chat because that's why we invite them to be a part of the conversation.
But
All right.
you know, like Troy and I both said, man, we fight to the death. Like our any man, when a man looks at another man, the very first thing to his mind is, can I whoop him? Off date. Even your best friend, your buddy, your boss, that's just the first thing we think. So for us, even though it's not ever going to come to that, our life and mentality is to the death. So when it comes to other men, no man wants to feel soft, because in the society we live in, the soft man is always the one that gets it. He's the prey. And now in times where money's funny, people getting robbed, killed, this, that, the soft man's always the victim. So no man wants to be the soft man.
But just because you're expressive, you could be an expressive ass kicker.
That's a woman's feelings. That's not a man's thoughts. I know a lot of soft men that'll whoop the hardest man ever. That's just not how we think.
But okay, so what's a soft man to you? What's soft?
I think a man is always crying and talking about his
Oh God, we just remember.
I mean, I want to be that man, but in my mentality, that's a soft man. As bad as I want to be him, to me, that's soft.
A man who's always crying, or a man who cries?
What's the fine line between always and cries?
Oh, there's
one cry always, or there's two cries always. So men just say crying.
There's a difference between someone always crying and someone who's crying at moments that just draw tears.
To women, there is. I don't think it is to men.
Okay. All right. So somebody put, women don't like weakness in men, which, I mean, we want you strong, but we want you vulnerable. How about we change the word to vulnerable? We want vulnerable men. And someone put, great show as long as we remember to respect all perspectives, which is true. Which is why we're having.
Which is why I said, sorry, Cole, I misunderstood you. Like at the end of the day, it's all love.
That also goes into feelings. Yes, we have to respect all perspectives, correct? I agree 300%. But all perspectives aren't the majority, and the majority is what controls the narrative. So when we talk, I need everyone to understand we're not talking about everyone. We're only referring to the majority, which controls the narrative.
Right.
Okay. All right. So here's a question for you guys. Here's a question. Hold on. What is crying defined as? Expressing feelings. I mean, like, I guess, what is it defined as? Isn't it expressing feelings if I'm, putting it in the context that it's in the chat?
I mean, it's like an emotional mind state. It's an emotional, emotional moment in time.
It's an emotional release.
Release is great. It is a release. It's a release. And I don't think there's anything wrong with crying.
No.
I don't think there's anything wrong with a man crying. I don't think there's anything wrong with us releasing. Shelly said he had a moment. Like, we all have moments, whether they be in the public or whether they be in private. We've all had moments before, right? Mm-hmm. Whether it be a death in the family, whether it be we've had it happen. So we can't always be in this super hype masculine state. But what I'm trying to say is, it's also like one of those things where I don't think a lot of women respect it. Like, they do at certain times, maybe if it's at a funeral, but there's going to be other times where, it won't be so much. And it could be frowned upon, because also that's the way, maybe you're right, Cola, maybe in the ways in which we've been, like, I don't like the word, the way we've been trained. The way that we've been trained, I'll say, as a whole, is maybe societally is maybe part of the reason why we have that. I don't think men have a lot of spaces to be able to be that, to just be.
And that's because it's not being taught. It's not when growing a male child, we're mothers, we see this. Our friends have boys and we have boys. I mean, I don't have a boy, but we see this stuff. And those spaces aren't there. Those spaces aren't provided because we're not teaching our boys that it's okay to do. It doesn't seem like those spaces are needed because everybody's so hard and the men don't want to, the men are non-expressive in that way. So it doesn't even seem like a space like that is needed. Nobody's saying, being vulnerable and open enough or honest enough to say, we need that space.
Well, I think we have it. I think the question is, what is too much? And I think for men, it's one thing to go to your homie and be like, "Oh, I'm hurting. What should I do?" It's too much when it's every week you always crying about the same problem.
But is it a cry or is it a cry or
no, not men? I'm never thinking tears. I'm thinking venting and being emotional. It hurts.
Oh wow.
And I know for a fact women will allow you to one day come home and be like, "Baby, it's hard out here. I don't know what to do." But if your man come home every day and can't pay that rent, come out it's hard, he don't know what to do, you're gonna have a problem with it. Or if every day y'all go out, a man grab your butt or grab your arm and your man be like, "It's okay, let's just go over here." You're gonna have a problem with it after a while. You're like, "Dude, you're gonna have to protect me." And he gonna be like, "No, we shouldn't do that." You're gonna have a problem with it. And for men, we're always in survival mode. There's a meme going around where we're walking in the restaurant or the airport. Women are, "Oh, this is nice. Look at the decor. Look at the chairs." And men are, "There's an exit over there. Look at that guy over there. He looks suspicious. Oh, that guy might be a problem. I'm gonna go run this way." That's our thought everywhere we go. So
I think black men. Let's correct that. Let's say black men.
I personally think all men are, but majority black, yes, because of the circumstances we live in. So
Yeah.
But I think that so when we say men, you can't be soft, since we're always in survival mode, majority of men are always thinking about the end times or if it get hard, what am I gonna do? And we all know the softest dude in the clique is who we finna get first when it comes to survival. Now, we know we'll probably never see that in our lifetime, but that's always on our mind. So no man wants to be the softest man in the clique. Because I know me, I'm always thinking of the end times. And I know if it comes to my family eating and someone else's family eating, I know what man I'm going to go to first and take his food. I know who I'm going to go to first.
Okay, so go ahead, Troy.
No, I was gonna say, like, I don't think in those terms, but I do understand where you're coming from when it comes down to just the protectiveness of being a man and a black man. I'm gonna say black man because I don't think I like I said when we started, I like to camp and hike. When I look at the white men and they're out, they don't look like they got a care in the world. There is nothing about them that is out here like, "Oh, I need to be on defense." They ain't out here on survival mode. They out here on the world is my oyster and I can live it like I want to.
But that's because they know they got their white brother, their brother got their back and the police ain't a threat to them. Like my white friends know his white partner is going to make sure he's okay. I don't know that about my brother.
That's right. That's right.
But that's what I'm getting at, though.
Right.
That's my whole point.
Why says just
us. Point is this stuff is specific to us. Right. It is not the same for everybody else because everybody else don't have to be in survival mode like we do all the time.
Right.
We have to be. I had a conversation with a young lady earlier this week or the end of last week, when we were talking about her and like just being attractive and walking out however she wants to. And in her mind, it's sort of like this idea that, hey, I can come outside and be half naked. I can come outside and just wear whatever I want to and have my body exposed, etc. And I'm like, hey, you can. Somebody will deal with that. But you could, I couldn't do it. And she said, well, what's the problem? I should be able to do it. I said, well, here's the problem. If you're out with me, you represent me. I represent you if we together. What happens is something subconscious that you don't even know. When you out like that, Shelly and everybody else around us is scoping out. Because for us, this is that primitive part of us. That primitive part of us is sizing up. Let him go to the bathroom. Let them go. Like, and it's automatic. Like, listen, no matter how you dressed, you're gonna look good. But what I'm saying is some things cause more attention than I really want to deal with. Because I know that I'm gonna have to fight today. I know that this could go violent because we ain't gonna do a whole lot of talking.
And someone gonna die.
You're not conscious of this.
True.
Because this isn't something that you have to be thinking about. But like Shelly said, we're always on go mode. He ain't lying. We always are scoping out where we are, what situation we in, and there's very few places. But here's the scariest part about that is just think about that. Just unpack what we're saying.
I get it.
You're walking around having to feel like you like this at all times.
Let me tell you something.
How do you rest?
It breaks my heart because I'm one of the parents. I mean, I don't have biological boys, but I raise boys. We had to sit them at the table and talk about what to do if they stop by the police. Talk about how if they in the car with their friends together, how they should sit, what they should look like. And it's not even good for a group of dudes to be in a car together as a teenager because of what the police would automatically think. So it breaks my heart that our men can't feel safe in the world that they live in, can't feel safe on the job, can't feel safe going to the store, because they're always a target. Listen, I you know, I don't mean to change the subject, but my opinion is ever since the black man has hit American soil, he's always been a so-called threat or so-called target. Ever since, I don't believe that our black man has ever really experienced true freedom because they've always had to look left, look right, look 360 all around them. A black man knows that he can't go in the woods hiking or jogging at 2:00 in the morning, but a white dude and his friends, they'll go to the lake that's off in the woods 20 miles off in the country and not have a care in the world. But black men, they know they can't do nothing like that.
And they'll do it in the concrete jungle.
Right.
They'll do it in the concrete. The safest person in the hood is a white dude, a white woman.
Yes.
They go jogging and riding their bikes at night. I couldn't fathom doing such a thing because I already know what's out here and how they gonna treat me. It's gonna be different.
Yeah.
So Troy, when you're saying that, I feel you 100%. My heart breaks to know that our black man has never just had real rest.
But here's the cold part. Like he said, it's a black thing because I grew up in the hood. I've been to the camp, everywhere. Anything that's happened to me from the time I've been shot, robbed, whatever the heck it's been, it's always been a black man. I don't necessarily worry about no white dude walking around.
Even that, black and white, because we do it to each other too. We do it to each other. But at the same time, listen, you pray too, as far as a white man is concerned. You get the wrong police officer to pull you over.
But that's every blue moon. I'm around us all the time. So it's a different fear.
I hear you, but I get it too, because we do it to one another. And again, it breaks my heart that our black men just don't have peace and don't have rest because you always are looking because you're somebody's target.
Mm-hmm. Well, it's one of those things that's so innate that happens so all the time that I don't think we like what I want us to all like take in is the fact that we're actually unfolding something that is a barrier that's been here, it's always here, it's in clear, like it's in plain sight, but we don't really see it. These are the things that we're dealing with every day that we never seem to talk about. The fact that woman, when I walk outside, gonna cross the street and go to the other side of the street, it's so normal to me, I don't even make a big deal of it in my mind, but I seen it happen. I noticed that all these damn people on this train, but you don't want to sit beside me for whatever reason. Mind you, I got a suit on, and it don't even matter that I got a suit and tie on and a badge showing where I work, right? It don't matter any of that. None of that matters because I'm always a threat to everybody in the community. I'm the scariest man on the street.
And that subconsciously, that fear and weight on your shoulder subconsciously and naturally makes you tell your boy, you better quit crying. You better stop doing this because you're going to be on the train and ain't no one going to want to sit by you. And you can't cry and make a scene because if they call the police, you the one going to jail. And after that, you can't be at that ATM in the hood too late because it's going to be one of us that's liable to rob you. So that constant fear makes you always tell your children, stay strong all the time, no matter what.
So ding, ding, ding. I definitely get that. But at the same time, we have to find a way to teach our boys how to release and how to express in a healthy way.
We need more hikers and more horseback riders like me that have money to take them boys. Man, I take my homies from the hood. That I got homies that have never left our block. When I used to take them to the mountains or take them to horses, you could see it in their face where it's like, hey, like we need more activities like that. And so that's the answer. How do we get more? Or like Troy, I would love for him to be like, hey, we going hiking next week. I'm like, well, let me see what's on top of this mountain. And if I could climb over this rock with this 52-year-old knee still, like we need more stuff like that. And that's the problem. We don't have ventilations.
And it's right here at our fingertips. The craziest part about it is there's somewhere for you to go hike, bike, horseback ride all the time. You know who know? White people. Yeah. They know. They know about all of this stuff.
That's what I'm going to say.
Getting in contact with nature.
We don't know where to go
at home and just be out, right? Mm-hmm. We don't do that. We don't even know what that feels like. Mm-hmm. We don't know what that feels like. We don't know what it feels like to just be. We always have to be everything. We can't just be.
Too cool. We too cool to hike. We too cool.
Everyone has the answer to everything. So you can always find these places to go. Listen, we got to wrap this up. We're going to resume this the third Wednesday of next month. Troy, you just going to be a regular on Men's Wednesday. So just know that. So just get ready, sir. You are part of the family. But somebody put in the chat, I appreciate my man being vulnerable and sharing his feelings. Men don't step into the emotional arena enough. And we all, I think, can agree with that. And something you guys said too, when you kept saying you guys carry the weight of everything, which I don't disagree. I do feel that, look, that word feel, you guys, we supposed to create partnerships. So you really don't have to carry everything. I think you guys been programmed to carry everything or think you do. But I feel if you have the right partner, remember, we're made from your rib. So we're supposed to be walking side by side in this thing together. That's just my thoughts. Now, before you give me your feedback, I'm going to let you do it. I'm going to let you
know who's ready.
Okay, go.
Tammi, I'm gonna tell you how embedded in us, like Troy was saying, it is. Like even me on this show, right? Just looking at you and Cola, the first thing on my mind is they straight? Who's coming around that corner? And I'm all the way in a whole nother zip code. It's just we can't help ourselves. Like every time we do a show, my whole thing is going on in Tam's house. And Cola's a little dark back there. I can't even see if somebody back there with a knife. Troy, I'm like, I hope he's straight. Like, it's just in us by nature.
Shelly has had a particular lifestyle. Okay,
yeah, he's paranoid. He's like, what's that? The ghetto boys. My mind is playing tricks on me, man.
I agree, but even I don't know. Troy said he's from the turf, but I know he didn't do all the dumb stuff. But I'm pretty sure even he's like you just see black women and be like, I hope she's straight. I wonder if a man protected her.
Oh, yeah.
It's just in our nature. It's just in our nature. It's like I just say on the streets, I can just see a woman walking and be like, I hope she's all right, dude. You know, like that's just men. That's why I said, and even Troy, I'm pretty sure I don't know no man that don't do that.
Your
What
natural
about the ones
protector.
out here?
There are a lot that don't.
No, they don't say it, or they don't care. They be like, I wonder if she fucked that bitch. It's starting them. They just too tough to let it out.
Well, I was gonna say, Tammy, there's not enough of yous out there anymore. And I think that's the other piece of the equation in which we're not like talking about. Because I think a lot of times we're trying to do all of these things because we're trying to make up for the standard in which, you know, it feels like around us. I'm gonna say feels because it might be perceived and not real.
Mhm.
But it does feel like there's a lot of women out here nowadays that have a lot of grandiose expectations. So you way up here with it. You're not looking at what's in front of you that can really improve your life and really could be there for you. That for one, that part in itself, you don't feel comfortable with that because what sounds good to you is something that's gonna keep your blood pressure high. You looking for this dude that's gonna always be doing some mess that's gonna keep you always excited, keep you always into something. Oftentimes, that's what you run into now because this is what's been preached out here. That's what you're looking for. You're looking for the thing that ain't necessarily good for you, and so we don't run into a lot of people who are really out here who really just want to build, who really want to have something, who really can calm you down and make you feel like you're in a safe space to be able to be vulnerable. Yeah. So,
but
you know, it's not as much of that, I don't think, anymore. I think as the men that we traditionally, our grandfathers and great grandfathers kind of folk, as those are falling off, so have those women.
But you know what, Troy? I think there are more than what you think. I think there are. It just depends on, to be honest, it depends on the age group that you're looking at and the generations. I really do, because I have a lot of friends who just want that traditional role. And all of this, gosh, what is this, what are they calling it? The new modern women, like all of those new phrases, is that stuff is just stupid.
Yeah.
And I don't think women at a certain age are even buying into that. There are women out there more than what you think that want that traditional role. They wanna take care of their man. They wanna come home and cook. They want a baby. How was your day? They want that.
Yeah.
So
I think it's more than you think.
I'm gonna say this, and I'm gonna go on both ends. I believe there are a lot of good women like that, but you don't see them because they're at home being good women. One.
Probably.
Two, there's also a lot of good women like that, but what do they look like? Because men, hold on, listen, and not being petty, but men, we lead with our eyes. Am I lying?
You're right.
Half of them aren't lookable for the average man, so they're overlooked. I know several women that would love all that, but you know.
But does she have to? Does she have to be a 10?
No,
beauty
is in the eye of the beholder. She has to be attractive to who's looking at her.
Okay, hold on. Does she have to be a 10? Can you live with a 5?
No man want no 10. Almost every 10 is single. Men, I don't know a man on the planet that wants to marry a 10.
Okay, so can you deal with a 5? Now, I'm not talking about somebody but ugly, but an average looking woman.
If she's average from head to toe, but if just her face is average or just her body is average, no.
I'm trying to
Hey, Shelly, you got the chat going wild. Shelly. Well, first of all, somebody said great program, guys, and then somebody put age ain't nothing but a number, but they like, Shelly, you not lying. Shelly hitting home runs, and then they got the rolling somebody else got the rolling, crying, laughing faces. So
just telling the truth.
I mean, I think so. Maybe part of the issue is that when you get to that point, a lot of the women, when they get to that point, they've already gone through some things in their life too. You know, and it's just like we were talking about earlier about aging and how we change with time. I think you all change with time too, and I think we don't, you know, like we got to acknowledge that part too. And by the time you get to that point where you're at that settlement phase, I'm ready to settle it down in a different way. You know, that there's other things that also become factors, right? Because I might be looking at you and I might be like, listen, I'm trying to have some kids and you can't give me that, right? So I might have to go to some younger because of that. So there's all these other there are other factors that also play into it. So let's, you know,
and honestly, when we get ready to settle down, we ain't outside as much. My daughter tell me all the time, you ain't gonna find nobody. All you do is go to work, into the gym, into the store. So like,
outside in the store.
I mean, but you know, I'm just saying we're not as accessible as we were in our 20s when we was outside every day at the mall.
Now that is true. That is true.
You know, so it's like Troy said, there's so many factors that play into that. We'd be here all night touching on them, but.
And that's why we gonna go ahead and bring it in, because I see, this is what I'm talking about. This is good. This is good. So we gonna pick this back up the third Wednesday of next month. So go ahead and put it on your calendar, Troy. And
tell Brother King to make sure he's stable next time, because I really want to hear what he got to say.
Yeah, he was going to go there.
Yeah, well, you know what? It may not be him. Because you know, I think we said we wanted to try to see if we can get some single fathers raising girls in honor of Father's Day. I think that's what we said. We wanted, because next month is Father's Day. So I'm
gonna try to get just all my single fathers in Denver is 5:30, so they at work.
Troy in California, tell him to take a lunch break or something.
Troy is rich and probably single. He do what he want to do, boy. That man got it his way.
Nah, man. Nah, I'm quiet out here.
That's right.
Okay, so listen. All right, so Cola, I'm gonna start with you as I do my round robin on this. So, any final thoughts on this conversation?
No, not any.
This is history. That's history.
I know. Okay.
It's just so much to be said, but
it is. But we already over time, and also we want other people to come to the stage too, Cola. So we don't want to run them off. We don't want to scare them off. Because again, this is to create a open.
Okay, so this is what I will say. Everything starts in the home. Everything starts in the home, and it starts with us either teaching or not teaching. Let me just say that.
Okay.
And that's how. And once we change what we're teaching, or implement what we're not teaching, that's the only way we're gonna break these cycles. That's really it.
Mm-hmm. Well, I think it came up the other week, like knowledge is power, but at the end of the day, you got to be using the knowledge for it to become powerful. So even when Shelly earlier mentioned his friends that don't read, you know, you got to be reading. We need to be lifelong learners. That's how the change comes about. We're constantly learning. We're constantly improving. We're constantly growing and elevating. You can't get stagnant and think that you've arrived and that's it. No.
But as a child, there is a subconscious foundation that is ingrained within us when we're children. And most of the time that will remain with us for our lifetime. Most of the time it will. When we don't explore other areas. But that cycle, the toxic cycle, if there is one in the house that I was talking about, like I said, everything starts at home. Everything starts.
Well, the Bible says that even love starts at home and spread abroad.
And that's the way we'll break this cycle, when we teach better at home.
Exactly. And you know what? This is going to go where people going to jump on this bandwagon and we're going to start a movement. We're going to be breaking those cycles. Somebody put applied knowledge is power in the chat. Yes, kudos, because you're absolutely right. All right, Shelly. Give us final words and tell people about your services and what you do, sir.
All right. Final word is, like I say, we just got to come together. I think everybody has to find their lane and build in their lane and stop worrying about everybody else's lane. And I think once we got a whole bunch of families, then we can link up and become as strong as your weakest link. Now, back to me, just real estate, any real estate services you need, let me know. I got you, Shelly.Solutions on Instagram. And Pooch Pastries for whatever your dog needs. Go to Pooch_Pastries. We got you.
Nice, 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 nice. And Mr. Troy, who is on the West Coast. Troy, what? Listen, I'm always thinking Cola and Shelly because they are my gems, my godsends. Troy,
And they are.
you are my new godsend because your wisdom and your knowledge and your realness, I appreciate. What final words you have for the people tonight?
I'm gonna say number one, I respect everybody on this panel. I appreciate all of you on this panel and you giving me this opportunity to be here. So I'm gonna start with that because Cola, I don't want you to ever think there's nothing but love over here. Okay, number one. And I want to make it very clear. I ain't got no disrespect to no women nor men. And so I'm gonna start with that. The other thing I'm gonna say is I think what we've uncovered is that, or discovered is that there are chinks in the armor. We do have some holes that need to be filled and some things to work toward. I think that you need to have platforms like this where it becomes a bigger discussion as to where those holes and gaps are, because most of us don't even realize that we're having these issues. It's not something that we talk about nor discuss. So at the end of the day, I think we need to have more of these, because I'm sure there's somebody that watched and said, damn, they right, I'm having that issue too. So I'm gonna leave it at that. I do appreciate everyone, and I hope that somebody got some nuggets out of all the things that were said.
I know they do because look, you got a new nickname in the chat. You Pastor Troy now. DSGB.
Amen.
We ready. What?
Yeah. I love Pastor Troy.
I love it too. So listen, this was awesome, and you are absolutely right. That's why the men's panel discussion is going to take place every third Wednesday of the month. Troy is now an official member of that panel. And then we're going to invite more men because we want the more different points of views we get, the more that can help us iron this thing out. And I really want this to be a movement. I want us to have valuable, life-adding, life-giving conversations. And what did you say? To break those chinks, or bond us together, whichever way you want to look at it. Because that's really what this is about. This is about bonding. So, because I'm a firm believer, I am my brother and my sister's keeper. That's just who I am. That's what I do. And so with much love and gratitude, I thank all of you for this very special night, the very first men's panel discussion, Real Talk, Real Men. So thank you guys so much. To the viewers, thank you guys for your activity in the chat. I love you guys. Join us next week. If you're not a part of this community, you can subscribe, because we will be here every Wednesday at 7:30 p.m. Eastern time, so that you can be a part of the new content that comes forth. And also, if you guys are not doing anything tomorrow, yours truly is going to be on TikTok, doing a TikTok live talk on the word restore. So you're gonna get some inspirational words from the word restore. That's my assignment. Either I should be able to go live on my Instagram, which is at thassawoman, or the person who's invited me, her TikTok is at One Grace Girl. So I'll be there 8 to 9 p.m. Eastern time tomorrow night. And so, as we're still in Mental Health Awareness Month. Y'all know that's a big thing for me. I'm going to leave you with two quotes tonight. One is, we as a culture have not fully acknowledged how much help is needed. The only real shame is on us for not being willing to speak openly, for continuing to deny that mental health is related to overall health. We need to start talking, and we need to start talking now. And that was a quote from Oprah Winfrey. And The second quote I'm going to leave you with: self-esteem is as important to our well-being as legs are to a table. It's essential for physical and mental health as well as for your happiness. And my words to close that out, in order to improve even our relationships with others, which was the biggest foundation of this conversation tonight, we have to improve our relationship with ourselves first. All right. So listen, you all stay blessed, stay amazing, peace and love. And I want you all to be blessed and have a great rest of your night.
Thank you.